Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name's Matthew, also known as RedFlyer, and today I'm doing a little bit of a different video. I'm going to be doing a discussion video today, and today's topic is kind of about hate in the car community, but more about car guy stereotypes and stereotypes about people that like cars that just aren't really true and that need to stop. And the reason I'm making this video is because I feel like being someone who likes cars is really difficult because there's so many different people telling you what to do, telling you what you can and can't do, and there's so many stereotypes that are placed upon these people and just really weird constraints that don't make sense, and when you stop to think about them, they shouldn't be a thing anymore. And that's why I'm talking about this, and that's why I decided to make a discussion video. So starting off right with number one, this is one that I get all the time and I know I'm going to piss people off just with the first one. But if you're angry, definitely hear me out and then leave a comment down below with your own thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with me. But the first one is that if you don't drive a manual car, you're not a true car enthusiast. And this one really kind of dates back in history to, the 70s, 80s, maybe even early 90s, when at that time automatic transmissions in cars were rare and they weren't as well performing as manual cars. The automatic transmissions were slow, they were clunky, they weren't precise, and that's why all the performance cars had manual transmissions. All the supercars, all of the performance cars, all of the track cars. But now we live in a time where automatic transmissions have become so good and so precise and so fast that they blow the manuals out of the water. It's not even close, which is why all the supercars have automatic transmissions for the most part now. So the notion that you still have to drive manual is silly, and I agree that it's kind of a rite of passage. It's something that makes driving more fun, makes it more enjoyable, but there's many things that people don't think about. I mean, for some people it's just not practical. For me, I wasn't able to buy a manual car for some reasons that were out of my control. Part of it was my parents drive my car sometimes and they didn't want to have to learn how to drive it again, and moving it around and things like that. And if you're driving in the city a lot, it may not be the most practical thing. And there's a lot of different factors that go into it. So just because you don't drive a manual car definitely does not mean that you're not a true car enthusiast, and that stereotype definitely needs to stop. So the second car guy stereotype that I want to talk about is kind of more coming from people outside of the community than inside the community, so it differs a little bit from the rest of them on this list. But it's the idea that people who like cars instantly drive fast and drive recklessly all the time, and they're stupid and they're speeding and reckless driving all the time. And this one is really kind of the opposite, because there's a small minority of people who like cars who street race and drag race and get reckless driving tickets and have horrible driving records, and those people kind of ruin it for the rest of us. But the rest of us love our cars, and we would never do anything dangerous enough to damage them or risk damaging them, so we're not going to drive recklessly because we care more about our cars than the normal person. So why would we do that, and why would we put it at risk? I mean, we could scratch it or damage it or scuff up the sides or curb our wheels. There's no reason to do that. It doesn't equate. And people believe that just because cars are fast means that you can't drive carefully with them or you can't control them. And I swear, if I had $1 for every time I've heard the question, why would you need a car that goes 200 miles per hour if you could never use it, I would be driving a car that could go 200 miles per hour. Okay, number three, I actually misspoke, is also one that comes from outside of the car community, and it's a huge stereotype that's placed upon car guys, and I hear this one all the time, and it's that just because you like cars and you're interested in cars, or you watch videos about them, or you want to buy a nice car, it instantly makes you super materialistic and someone who's really shallow and always judging other people and is too focused on money. And that's just so not true. This is totally perpetuated by the media portraying celebrities and athletes with their Lamborghinis, and Nicki Minaj driving her pink Bugatti, and they don't care about cars, and they probably don't deserve those cars because they don't even know anything about them. They just have them because it's the reputation, and they want to appear like they have a lot of money, and they want to appear like they're rich. But the enthusiasts, they're not shallow, they're not materialistic, because they actually appreciate the cars for what they are. Like, for example, I have an Audi R8 t-shirt. I have a model Audi R8 on my desk right here, and right there I have a poster of an Audi R8 upstairs. I love Audi R8s, but I don't ever want to buy one because of the clout or because it's a supercar. That's because of the price tag. That's not why I like them. I like them because of the car that they are, because of the features that they have. I think they look incredible. I think it's awesome that it's a naturally aspirated engine that's super rare nowadays, and the power that they can put down. I think the features they have is awesome. The Audi virtual cockpit and you know, all the other features that come with Audi R8s and like variable exhaust and things like that. Like, there's so many features that are so incredible about these cars, and you can appreciate them for things other than just the money. You can appreciate them for the features they have. You can appreciate them for the power, and think about just the concept of like being able to go 200 miles per hour in a car that you can drive by yourself. Like, just think about that. Like, it's something that like just blows my mind when I think about it. And there's so many other things you can appreciate about cars. So just because you do like cars and you're interested in them and you watch YouTube videos about cars doesn't mean you're shallow, doesn't mean you're materialistic. People like things. There's people who like houses and they watch HGTV. That's like a whole channel on TV. Literally just videos of people looking at houses. But those people aren't materialistic. Those cost way more than most cars. There's people who like designer clothes when the designer clothes are arguably like the same quality as normal clothes. At least these cars like perform way better than normal cars. Like, you can see the difference here. So it's totally not being materialistic. It's not just being shallow. No matter what the media says, no matter what other people tell you, feel free to love cars just for loving them, and don't listen to what other people say. And coming in at number 4 on my list is another one coming from inside the car community, not outside. And this one's a little bit more subtle. It's one that people aren't usually straight up with, but you can kind of tell when they talk down to you a little bit. And it's the idea that just because you like supercars or your favorite cars are supercars, you're not a true car enthusiast. And I get this one all the time because I tell people I'm a car enthusiast and they instantly tell me about some story where their friend's dad's brother or whatever has like a Mustang from 1965, and I usually pretend to care because it's polite and, you know, they're trying to be polite and talk about things that I want to talk about. But to be honest, I could care less about a Mustang from 1965. I don't really like old cars. I'm still a car enthusiast, but I like modern cars better. And besides maybe a select handful that I can count in one hand, I could care less about anything before 2005. And that's totally fine. That's just something that I'm interested in. That's what I like. And everyone is totally free to have their own opinion on cars that they like, on what they're passionate for, what they're interested in. For me, I really care about the features that cars have as well as their performance. So if a car doesn't even have a touchscreen or doesn't have a display or anything, it's like, is that really up to modern standards? And I don't find it as interesting as something like, again, a modern Audi R8 that has the Audi virtual cockpit along with all the performance that a supercar brings. I just find that way more interesting myself. But I feel like a lot of times in the community, you can't like supercars. Like, it's not acceptable. And I think this comes mainly from the idea that most younger kids are more into supercars. They're flashier, you know, they're faster. Everyone knows Lamborghini and Ferrari, but half the people on the street probably couldn't tell you what a McLaren is or couldn't name a single McLaren for you. McLarens are supercars as well, but if you told some random person who's not a car guy, you told them, oh, I have this wide body BRZ, they're gonna look at you and be like, oh, I don't know what that is, but everyone knows what a Lamborghini is. So they're definitely a lot more mainstream, and I think among kids, there's a lot more people who'd rather have a supercar than, like, you know, some tuned like middle class whatever car, whatever you want to call it. It's just a lot more common among younger kids to be interested in supercars, and I think that's why it's frowned upon so much. I think that's also perpetuated by video games that are usually pushing supercars and, you know, the fast Lamborghinis and stuff like that, and the media again. But there's just this really widespread idea among the car community that it's not acceptable to like supercars, and I don't care. I like supercars more than old cars. I like them more than drift cars or even wide body, lower stance cars, whatever. I like supercars. It doesn't mean I'm not a fake enthusiast though. And finally, number 5 on my list is the idea that just because you don't have a really fast car or a modded car or a stance car, again, a manual car, you can't be a car enthusiast. And this is constantly put forward in the car community. Everyone's looked down upon if you don't have a car with these mods, or you never modded your car. It's not manual. It's not fast enough. And it's a little weird for me being in high school, because in high school it's really just everyone drives whatever car their parents wanted to give them, or however much money their parents wanted to spend on them, whether that's a hand-me-down Accord from 1998, or if it's a brand new Audi RS3, which, yes, that does exist in my student lot, but also the guy who drives it is really humble and he's really chill, so no shade to him or anything. But it's a little different in high school, but it's still pretty common. You know, people look down on you depending on the car you have, and, oh, you're a car enthusiast, but you drive like an automatic car, or, you know, you bought a new car instead of buying a used car, things like that. There's so much judgment that goes on, when really people need to just get above that and like think above themselves and realize that we all love the same thing. We're all passionate for the same things, and we all love cars, so why can't we just come together for our passions that we have, and you know, appreciate each other for everything that we love, and like for loving our cars and treating our cars like they're our kids. And you know, regardless of what car you drive, you can still find joy from driving it, and from, if you want to mod it, you can mod it, or just driving it and, you know, enjoying time behind the wheel. It doesn't matter if you're you know, young enthusiast who can't drive yet. You can still attend car meets, you can still watch content online and take in media and take in discussions. Now we all know how online discussions go, but even if you don't have a car, I'm gonna go to college next year, and I don't even know if I'm gonna have a car as a freshman on campus, but that's not gonna stop me. I'm still gonna be going to meets, I'm still gonna be watching YouTube videos, and I'm still gonna be continuing to grow the same passion that I've always had for cars, or at least in the past like 5 years or so. And it's not going to stop me, because just because you don't have a really fast car yourself, or a really nice car, or stance car, or manual car, whatever, doesn't mean you can't be a true car enthusiast. And that's really the biggest thing I'm putting forward with this video. I think there's a lot of judgment and a lot of hate within the car community, and I'm sure this isn't going to change anything. But if you agree with me, definitely leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'd love to continue this conversation a little bit more. I'm thinking of starting some new series on my channel to kind of continue this idea, but more to come on that in the future. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe to see more in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.
Say that it feels right.